wow. Another country?
She's a traveling lady.
Well, then that's going to be more than 2 weeks, certainly.
Yeah. Hey, she'll have her private jet flyer in, I guess. I don't know.
That would be very lovely.
No, she'll be back in actually it'll be 4 weeks because in 3 weeks I have to take a day off for some stuff.
Yeah, stuff is always a good reason to take days off.
Personal, really, 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 really personal stuff that might be too disgusting to get into, so I can't.
He's having all of the earwax removed for one of those videos on YouTube that you can then watch later as they pull out like 3 inches of it.
The world's largest earwax bowl. So anyway, I'm here with You Heard Her, and she's the diva of the stage and the video screen.
I try.
And she's a comedian. And
sometimes,
ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Bloomstrom here with the ever-present Princess
Reese Peasy.
Yeah.
So I'm Rachel Bloomstrom. You may also remember me. I have been doing my own show, which is on hiatus right now, called In Other News, though I found other shows called In Other News, so I am thinking about maybe changing it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, I'm happy to be here.
Copyright that stuff. That's what these two guys did to White Lives Matter so that Kanye couldn't.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was thinking, like, what if it's just In Other News with Rachel Bloomstrom?
There you go.
I can have that.
Yeah. Yeah, and if another Rachel Bloomstrom decides to do
there aren't any.
Yeah. Oh,
there was one who married into the family, but she's gone. I never met her though.
Okay.
Married some relative I had never met in a different state.
Because believe it or not, there's a biological scientist in Ireland by the name of Darren Marshall.
Oh.
So I tried Googling myself and ended up finding some guy in Ireland who's a biological scientist. So
you could ride that prestige if you ever wanted to just if you ever travel, be like,
I could do that. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You're wearing glasses. What else do you need? It's proof enough.
So anyway, we're here. We've got a lot to cover. What do you want to cover first?
Well, how about, since I am live streaming to TikTok, I just want to bring up briefly, there's this TikTok challenge, Kia challenge. And apparently some Hyundais, where they apparently are showing people how to
break into a Kia.
Yes, which it's pretty easy. And then they showed the video on the news, but then they were like, but TikTok's taking it down, so don't watch this. And I'm like,
yeah, Reese totally agrees with that.
I know. Yeah. Reese has been so vocal today. She's got a lot of opinions.
Yeah. She met a new friend on Chicago Avenue.
Yeah, but I'm not convinced she liked them that much.
Yeah.
She's more of a people person.
Yeah.
Somebody over here is saying onions. I don't know.
Onions.
Yeah.
The Onion.
No, I had submitted a few things to the Onion. I was in like the final round, but I only tried once. And I was like one of the final 4, and then I wasn't picked, so whatever.
Yeah, I tried out for Cards Against Humanity.
Oh yeah. I actually with a local theater company called BYOT, which is Bring Your Own Theater. One of the founders, I'm one of the founding committee members, but one of the founders worked at the Cards Against Humanity place, and they had a whole theater in there, and we used to sometimes use that space.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was lovely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the kind of job I would love to have.
Yeah, and do you remember that they had pulled this trick that they said they were selling Bull S for Black Friday, and it was at a severely discounted rate, and literally sent dehydrated bull.
Oh wow. No, I do remember though that they bought up land around the southern border so that they couldn't build the wall there.
Oh,
You didn't hear about that?
No, good for them.
When Trump was on his whole build the wall, we're going to make Mexico pay for it. They bought up land there.
Good for them.
And I think they also bought up land in Scotland too, so that he couldn't put.
Oh, right.
Put a
Yeah.
golf course there. He was going to put up a second golf course or something like that. I don't know.
Nobody.
But yeah.
No, Scotland didn't want him either.
Oh, they hate him.
Didn't they somebody with their lawnmower hedge out a giant penis
Yeah.
in the grass that
There
you could
was
see
that.
like flying
There's-
over it.
There's an actual farm in the middle of it that the guy refuses to sell him to. So he,
Yes, that's the guy. Yes. Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. And then Samantha Bee sent somebody to Scotland to interview people at a bar, and it was nonstop bleeps of what they thought of Donald Trump.
I mean, it's accurate though.
Yeah, it is accurate.
I mean, that's really what that's like the whole world thinks of him, except for his like handful of supporters here. And like, you know, even that doesn't affect them. Like I've asked, like, doesn't it make you think about it when you realize like literally the entire world is laughing at you because they think you are so dumb and tricked?
Well, I don't think he's all there. I think he thinks that they respect him in his own mind.
Oh no, I'm talking about followers. I'm talking about his cult members. Like,
so that's something I'd like to talk about real quick.
Yeah,
it's we're coming up on election day here in Chicago and Illinois and other places, and I early voted, and you know from the statistics, the statistics that are out there. 30% of Americans identify as Republicans. I think it's something like 40-ish that are Democrat, and the rest are independents and stuff like that, or different, political categorizations. So I'm thinking, how is this whole thing with the Republicans happening? We saw the giant, massive chasm of voters difference in the last election, and it's going to get even worse because since the last election, how many Trump followers actually died because they believed that COVID was not real and stuff like that?
Yeah, did they ever get those statistics?
They did, and
yeah. What group?
It was definitely Republicans.
No, but I mean, like, what group did? Like, I'm wondering, like, if a research group discovered what like percentage of Republicans, or like how many people who are like MAGA supporters actually died from COVID. Do you have that number?
I don't know about MAGA, but in general, there was a significant percentage of Republicans that passed away from COVID as opposed to Democrats. Now the thing is, they're saying that, I have to keep saying this. This vaccine is not a cure. It's a preventative measure. And people are like saying, "Oh, well, I got COVID and I didn't die." And the thing is, that's not the point. The point is, like, you could actually die from the flu. If the flu is severe enough, you could die from the flu.
But if you get the vaccine, you don't.
Yeah.
Because your body already had some information in order to combat it.
Yeah. Same thing with COVID. Some people are saying herd immunity. And it's like,
they tried that in Sweden and it was disastrous. It was no.
Yeah, so you still have your people, and I truly believe, with all the misinformation out there, that a lot of these people that say they got COVID but didn't get vaccinated are probably vaccinated and they probably didn't get COVID.
Yeah, I'm sure there's tons of lying. But I do want to say I have never had COVID.
Yeah.
And I have all the vaccines that is available to me. I'd like to get my second booster. I'm a little irritated that it hasn't been available, but obviously because the news media got tired of reporting on it, the government was able to take back funding. And that is, like, to me, just so indicative of what the entire government looks like. Like, they are only going, like, whatever they can keep in the news is what they are going to talk about.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, it no longer becomes free, but it still is something that could be done with your health insurance, paid through your health insurance plan. But yeah, at the beginning of the year, it's like if you don't have health insurance, then you're going to have to pay.
Well, but I mean, on top of it, like if we don't talk about it, then suddenly it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know, right?
And that's the kind of thing that, like, okay, that's a little bit of a segue. So, from my understanding, the shooting in St. Louis at Central Visual and Performing Arts School, I've actually spoken to several of the students. They contacted me and they were like, we don't feel like this is getting coverage. And this was on the first day. I hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah.
And so I started looking and I shared a video and some update with insider information from the students. And as I'm trying to follow up, and they're telling me some of the things that they are hearing on the ground. Now, this is uncorroborated. This is just seems to be some confusion among the students on whether or not there were more shooters, or at least more people there who potentially could have been, but maybe they didn't participate. Because, you hear the story. Some people saw the shooter with a mask on, and then other people saw the shooter without a mask on. And somebody said they saw a white shooter, but Orlando Harris is a black man.
Yeah.
So there's some weird stuff. I'm not going to say for sure that there's multiple shooters because Orlando Harris is the only person we're talking about. But here's some stuff that's not getting national news. About a month before, his mother had tried to get the police to take away an AR-15 that he'd gotten his hands on. He had gone to like a gun show or something and got declined. He literally was declined because he had been in and out of being committed to mental institutions. He has severe mental health. Yeah. And his family had him committed. So the red flag lit that up. And then he went and purchased it from a private person. So he didn't have the gun legally, and his mother called for the police to come take it away. But St. Louis, Missouri has this new law. It claims that the state statutes supersede federal laws on guns. So because they said, no, we're not going to have that strict of law. We're going to ignore what the federal law is because we made our own law that says we get to. Yeah. Which is, I really wish this would get more attention because that. Yeah. But God, I don't know about taking it to this Supreme Court.
It sounds almost like Lauren Boebert's situation. She wanted a GED and she couldn't get one, so they just finally gave her one.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, in addition to this, I had also heard that he had told his therapist at least twice that he was thinking about shooting up the school, and they have an obligation to report that, and that did not happen. And now I'm saying I haven't found the corroboration like on mainstream media, but this is what I'm hearing from the students on the ground and people who were there and people who knew him. I've heard some interesting mixed feedback. One of the students who was in classes with them said she thought he was pretty cool. He was kind of quiet. He was always invited because the school, it's a magnet school and like kind of like this safe space that they build for everybody. And she thought he seemed kind of cool, but the kids who I spoke to who didn't know him said that he seemed kind of distant and weird. One person said maybe a little creepy or whatever, but the people who had been in class with him, so, I mean, he was definitely shy. Yeah. Oh, and I have to.
So it sounds very, very high school cliquey sort of situation there.
Yeah, I need to pull up this letter. One of the teachers at the school who had taught him wrote. Do you understand that none of you went that way? Do you guys understand the consequences? Do you understand that none of you? Okay. Hold on. I got to pull up this letter real quick because one of the teachers sent this letter out to the rest of the school talking about him. And I just wanted to give a few quotes, but I do want to mention, so there were some interesting things. He didn't shoot everyone he came across. He had a list of people apparently that he wanted to shoot. And it doesn't seem like he really came across any of them, to be honest. But gosh, where is this letter? This whole thing's crazy. Oh, the police had also made multiple mental health trips to his house. So they were very aware. They had a history with him. They have this on file that there is this, red law that he had been flagged. And I do want to mention the victims, this wonderful girl named Alexandria Bell. She was about to turn 16. Everybody loved her. She was a bright girl. She was a dancer,
Mm-hmm.
And then the teacher, Jean Kuchka, who was 61 years old. She had 5 kids. Super beloved teacher. It was like several of the kids who messaged me said that was their favorite teacher.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard too from. I know it doesn't happen. Sometimes it doesn't happen on national news levels, but here in Chicago, on one of their local news stations, they did talk about the shooting. So I don't know what's going on with national news unless there's more. They try to say what news stories are more important than others or something like that.
Yeah. So I just saw one of them had responded again that, one of them is like, it's very incorrect. There's no third shooter. So don't listen to that stuff. I added Windows 11 and it's doing weird things and it's very much irritating me. Okay. So it's interesting. So this teacher, she wrote that she had him in our class and that he was very nice, but definitely very shy. And then she said that she knows he was bullied later, which is not what I heard from the girl who was in class with him. But, students don't always, when you're young, maybe you don't always know what bullying is or how it can affect people. And she's doing that thing in her mind. Like, what if just one more nice thing had been done, or one more person had reached out? And you just can't think like that. And she said, like she's even sorry for him, and she doesn't blame him. She doesn't blame his mom. She doesn't blame the police. She blames those making the laws. And while I disagree with her on banning assault rifles, I do agree with her on, increasing these laws. And Missouri has definitely gone way overboard. They're, like Georgia and Texas, they're happy to put guns in everybody's hands.
Yeah.
And that is one of the number one reasons that I am against banning assault rifles right now, because the right, who keeps talking about wanting a civil war, is armed to the teeth.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give up my gun. I'm sorry. I was in the military. There's military leftists out there. Like, I just don't think now's the time. Would I like to see that sometime in the future? Yes, but not in this current state that the country's in, where literally like half of the country thinks civil war is imminent. Why would we do that right now? That would just, I think that's the wrong thing to look at. I think the right thing to look at is the gun laws. I think that we should be, looking at
mental health issues and
mental health, especially, but we need stricter background checks. And like, so to get in the military, they do a background check on you and you have a basic psych eval. And before we even get guns, we have to go through safety training. We have to have all this training. We have to be certified. And I think that needs to happen. Like, put these people in classes. That gives the gun range masters a chance to see if this person's a safety hazard.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll tell you what, gun range masters, like, they know what they're doing. They are very serious about their job. They know how dangerous it is. They're literally walking around with a bunch of people who have weapons and aren't necessarily trained. And God, and that makes me crazy too. People are like, good guy with a gun. And they don't have tactical training. They're going to fire into a crowd.
Look what happened in Uvalde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
If you can't think fast enough on your feet, that's it.
Well, one of the things is they say, like, you never know until you're in that situation. Yeah. You can have training, but some people will just freeze. And that's true. But you should have the training in case of either thing. But speaking of Uvalde, real quick, I saw this interview yesterday of the teacher who, very early on, the police tried to blame her for leaving the door propped open. This woman has been through hell. She has got terrible anxiety and depression. She can't stop shaking. She's basically agoraphobic. It's ruined her life. And it was just one of the saddest things I said, and they were like, and he asked her, is there anything that they could do to make up for it? She said, no, she said, I died in that building.
Yeah.
She's never going to be the same person again. And all because, he gaslit her, made her question herself, and then had a whole community turn against her for a period of time. And it's just,
the whole gaslighting people just to get at somebody. It's like what happened with the whole Georgia voting thing, where the two women that worked at the polls were getting death threats and everything.
You throw them under the bus.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I feel like there should be repercussions for ruining people's lives.
Yeah.
A civil lawsuit. And I really, 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 this is one of the major police reforms that I want, is that their lawsuits are no longer covered by taxpayer dollars.
Right.
They must be required to carry their own liability insurance.
Thank you.
Why do they not have their own? We have to have our own liability insurance in case our AC unit falls out of the window. We're not walking around shooting people. They have to have it. And I think that would do a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I think that would do a lot to not only help out with reparations, but also help out with improving the reputation, because, well, first of all, they're going to be responsible for their own actions.
Yeah,
finally.
They would get bankrupted. They would.
Yeah.
So that's going to make them think: do I need to be shooting this person, or can I just tase them?
Yeah.
Is that a pear or is that a grenade?
Yeah. It's that whole, I mean, I just keep thinking about the whole Alex Jones thing, where he is being sued so much and he is being basically buried in debt to the point where, even the company that owns InfoWars is probably going to be gone.
Well, yeah, like last I had looked at it, we talked about it a couple months ago. After he was had that trial, he has money that he keeps shuffling around to different companies, trying to keep it from being taken from him, and he will not stop running his mouth.
I know.
Admitted in court.
He thinks he's like Trump with Teflon.
All of them do, and they have been, and that's the problem.
Look at Bannon. Bannon's still opening his
Oh, and you know what that leads us to?
What?
The Attorney General Alliance.
There we go. I knew I'd get us there somehow.
Yeah, the Attorney General Alliance. I saw a piece on it yesterday, but do you want to?
Basically, the Attorney General Alliance, I believe, is a group of, what is it?
DAs and AGs.
About 10 of them, something like that.
Oh, no, that was originally. Now there's much more.
Oh, yeah. So basically, they're all getting together to, these are places like the usual suspects: Texas, Florida, Georgia,
Colorado.
And they're basically getting together to say, to figure out ways that they could subvert the voting process, amongst other things.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. That's different than what I was hearing.
Oh, what were you hearing?
So there's been some undercover, or somebody was undercover footage, and they caught the Colorado Attorney General. And so these lobbyists and corporations pay tens of thousands of dollars to have access to go and meet with these attorneys who are prosecuting some of them in many cases. Because like one time they had, like Facebook and Google were getting sued. So they went to this beautiful, lavish resort that was completely paid for by the companies in order to talk to the attorney generals and get some like they're supposed to be suing them for us.
Yeah.
And here they are schmoozing up, getting free trips to Hawaii in these 5-star hotels. The one that they were talking about was over $1,000 a night for a room.
Wow.
In the most basic room, starting at. And not only did the money come out of that fund, but the taxpayer dollars. Our money has been grifted in order to help these attorneys work out kinks with them to minimize what they're going to lose in court,
Well, I think that might be part of what's going on with the Texas Attorney General, because he's already been he's under indictment, and he's still walking around like nothing's happening to him.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Reese thinks it's crazy too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. Reese got riled up on the way here.
I have never heard Reese speak so much. I mean, I love it because I thought, oh, poor girl, she's just shy. Today, I get to Rachel's car and Reese greets me.
Non-stop chatter.
And I loved it. It was so fun.
And then she got a little anxious in the ride.
Yeah.
But she made those really cute sounds.
I know she needs to get used to riding again.
Yeah, she hadn't been in the car too much in the last few months.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Anyway, these attorney generals. Wasn't it an attorney general that kind of messed around with the Epstein thing?
Probably.
No,
probably
in Florida.
Yeah.
In Florida, yeah.
Oh yeah. And Florida's entirely corrupt.
Yeah.
Like, there's just. I mean, why else would these sex traffickers be able to get away with doing what they do? So in his first case, he was literally convicted of sex trafficking minors. And the deal they worked out in court was that he would just go sleep at jail at night. And he was permitted 12 hours a day to go and conduct the business of continuing to traffic girls. And the police who worked on the case were great. Oh, and I did want to say the police who were at the St. Louis shooting were fantastic. They got there in 4 minutes and the whole thing was done in less than 15 minutes and the shooter was down. So I do want to say that they did do a good job there. But one other thing that was notable is it was actually a Black young man who was a shooter. And I don't know of any other mass shooters who weren't white.
There was one way back when, and I remember this story because it kind of became an infamous story.
Is it the Austin?
The one where he was driving a car and the kid was in the trunk shooting?
No.
You never heard of that?
Maybe.
There was a mass shooter going around and they were trying to figure out how he was killing people, and it turned out that he was grooming this kid, and the kid was actually firing shots from a hole in the trunk, and it was crazy. Yeah, that's not well thought through. Yeah. So they both got time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, but hopefully that the kid also received. The problem is they probably didn't rehabilitate that kid at all. They probably just put him in jail with a bunch of criminals, and he got better at being a criminal. Yeah. And they put minors in jail for life now. The whole criminal justice system is disgusting, and I could do a whole week worth of episodes on all of the problems.
So that and you were speaking about police response time. We were talking about this briefly. Paul Pelosi.
Yeah, so I don't know all the details on this. Okay. Lay it on me.
So, man comes in, breaks into the Pelosi home. Nancy Pelosi is not there. Her security detail is not there also because they're with their person they're supposed to be protecting. Right. So that's one thing, because these MAGA people are saying, well, where was security? They were with her.
They're her security.
Yeah. Second thing, the guy came with a hammer and tape and zip ties, and he came prepared. So that was the second thing.
And that just reminded me of when they broke into the Capitol.
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yeah. So Paul Pelosi was in bed, and he was probably, he probably wasn't wearing a lot because he was in bed. So now they're saying that there was a thing between them, and it was a spat. And
this is coming from Fox News.
Well, no. This story originated in a local newspaper that was like the small town version of National Enquirer. It got sued so many times because of conspiracy theories. Okay, So they put this conspiracy theory out there about Paul Pelosi being gay, being at the clubs, stuff like that. And so now,
that's such a projection because like everybody knows Lindsey Graham is like, oh, and Zach, my cousin, he's saying Elon spread that on his account.
Well, see, that's where I was going. Elon posted not only that, but posted kind of posted where he got that from, and that fueled the flame. That lit the match right there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So
I mean, all those people are waiting to take lead from him.
Yeah. So but it gets complicated as I go along. So the hammer, they broke the window, but they're all saying glass was all on the outside. Some of the glass was on the outside, some of the glass was on the inside, and the way the hole that was in the glass, if you broke a glass with a hammer,
the claw hammer,
that when you do pullback, glass is going to come out.
Yeah, especially if it's your first time.
Yeah.
And you're a moron.
Yeah, and you're a moron. So there's that. Now, where it gets interesting is that Elon posted this all up. Oh, and the cops were there in a few minutes because Paul Pelosi.
Did they have a panic button?
No, he called 911, and details haven't come out. But what I am thinking from hearing from the 911 calls, he was calling 911, pretending to be calling someone else looking for his wife to placate.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Classic.
So he basically was giving out signals to 911, and police were there just like that.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So what happened was Elon Musk tweeted this out, and then everybody in MAGA world went nuts and started doing all these conspiracy theory things.
That's our favorite pastime.
And then Elon Musk got called out on it and said, this is where this was from, and was given the receipts on where this was from. And then Elon Musk retracted it and took the...
Yeah, I knew he took it down, but I mean, the damage had already been done.
The damage had already been done, yeah.
But, I remembered in the car thinking about it on the way here, that the guy who, after Donald Trump, had the records taken back by the police, rightfully so, because he had papers. These are some weird questions I'll get to in a second. Like that guy used a hammer to try to break into the FBI.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I think somebody is making a joke about somebody being assaulted with a hammer, and need this person to go.
Yeah, he needs to go because I've heard all those jokes already.
Yeah, it's not funny. The man has a fractured skull.
No, yeah,
and y'all are also the ones who are complaining about political violence, and literally y'all are the only ones committing it. So we're not, you can just leave. And somebody else said, I'm not a Democrat. Somebody else said, you think Kanye is kind of right? Who thinks Kanye's right? Nobody thinks Kanye's right.
Nobody.
I think y'all might be listening to the wrong radio station. And no, I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a liberal. I am a leftist. My cousin did call it a hammer of injustice, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we have a situation like we're seeing in real time.
Yes, real time right now. These are the live comments.
And this is, how many of these are people just wanting attention? How many of these? Well, first of all,
I bet they're unemployed.
Yeah, incels, which by the way.
Oh yeah, I was doing the whole series on the manosphere.
Yeah. By the way, did you see She-Hulk?
I have not seen it yet.
Okay, because that whole series, she is basically about incels. It's so funny.
Yeah, I heard it's hilarious.
It's funny, but in the spoiler alert, okay? Spoiler alert, the villain ends up being a group of incels. that hate women.
Yeah, no, that sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right. But we have to remember that the manosphere isn't only made up of incels. They're just the most violent and active. That is the group that largely mass shooters come out of, which is one of the things I've been trying to investigate on Orlando Harris. Does he have any connection to the manosphere? Because, what his note said was that he was all alone, but what classmates said was that's not true.
Well, see, this guy that attacked Paul Pelosi, had connections there.
Yeah.
And the guy, the other conspiracy thing coming out about this guy. Oh, he's an illegal. He's not an illegal, folks.
What?
He's not illegal, and I say this because back in the 2000s,
talking about the man who assaulted
Paul Pelosi.
Yeah.
Back in the 2000s, he was actually very, very liberal. But something happened. But something happened on the way to trigger him.
I saw the interview with the girlfriend.
Yeah.
His ex-girlfriend. She said he is nuts. She said up until Donald Trump was elected that he was a Democrat and everything, but then he started getting really into these conspiracy theories, and he started thinking he was being watched. He became very paranoid, and just kind of went off the radar. She said his mental health just deteriorated so fast, and basically that's it, and once you get sunk into this like a cult of it's a
cult of personality, because Donald Trump, the reason why people voted for Trump wasn't so much his personal politics, because nobody knew what his personal politics were. People
they liked the misogyny.
Yeah. But people did not know his personal politics. The people that voted him did not really know him. Yeah. Yeah,
no. I don't know how though. There's so much information.
He was a Democrat for a long time too.
Oh yeah. He definitely. And some of his ideas were very liberal.
Yeah. Although he was still scum.
Right.
Because I don't know if I told you this before, but I lived in Atlantic City during the Taj Mahal debacle, where he bankrupted the casinos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How do you bankrupt a casino? The place that's supposed to have all the money in the world. How do you bankrupt a casino? He is no longer allowed to have a casino license in the United States. Not allowed. Even after he became president, they still didn't do that. So there's that.
I've been accused of believing everything CNN tells me, except for I don't watch CNN. I don't watch cable.
I don't watch cable news either.
No, I don't. I'm my own journalist and I do my own research. Hello.
It's like we look through all these news stories from different news sources to try to sort through all the grifting and
then in some instances I have my own actual contacts that are giving me the information on location. I don't need to check in with buddies, and I can't say it. This is the last time I'm going to say it on this live, because I don't know why y'all are doing this. I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a liberal. I'm a leftist. So everything you're saying, you're just projecting. It's not who I am. It's not who Darren is. So you make no sense. My dog's laughing at you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like even Reese knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I have certain beliefs and certain that are on either side of the fence.
They weren't saying this stuff when I was saying I'm going to keep my assault rifle.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, not a Democrat.
Yeah. So again, this I noticed this on Twitter about a month ago, and I think this is turning into an example of that. When prior to that month ago, I would get tweets on my Twitter feed from people that I follow and people that I respected, And then a month ago, almost overnight, it switched up. I was hardly seeing any tweets from people that I follow, but I was seeing a whole lot of conspiracy theory spouting people. A lot.
Yes.
And it tells you followed by, and it says followed by this person, this person, this person. I'm like, or liked by. No, it's not followed by. It's liked by.
And I don't like any of those people.
It's like I'm a big fan of Margaret Cho.
Oh.
And I saw that she liked something, and I'm starting to think the algorithm in Twitter might have been changed. And here's how I think it might have been changed. Let's say somebody puts out a tweet that says something conspiracy theory, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, nobody that I follow this person, right? But some of these people that respond and say, you know what, that's BS, they get likes, and then the next thing you know, those likes end up turning into not likes by the original comment, but somehow those likes from the other comments get added to the likes of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the subset is being added to the main tweet.
Well, something weird that has happened to me recently is I've noticed when I'm researching stories, it keeps trying to force Fox News to me. It's always the top option, and I'm not gonna look at Fox News, and I'm not gonna look at CNN.
Fox Entertainment. In trial.
Yes, it's Fox Entertainment.
It's
yes.
Fox Entertainment.
It's not news. But yeah, Fox News Entertainment. But yes. Yeah. And literally their own lawyer, just in case y'all missed it, said anybody who believes this is like an unreasonable person.
Yeah. Literally
that's their defense. The defense is no reasonable person would believe this. I think it was on Tucker Carlson specifically, right?
Yeah, it was Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
It was Tucker Carlson and I think Sean Hannity too.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I'm like, but people still believe this, even though they said you're nuts if you believe this.
Yeah. It's
mind-boggling.
Maybe I'm putting together another short series for episodes. Maybe I'll add one on that.
Because it's not just Fox News, it's OAN. It's what was the America?
Oh, well, there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them now.
Breitbart.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But
that's Steve Bannon, right?
Yeah, that's Steve Bannon.
And Steve Bannon has been in the news recently, right?
Yeah, he's going to jail.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Good news. Good news. Yeah. Where criminals belong.
Yeah.
Can't wait till they put anybody who's committed treason in this country in jail.
Oh yeah, and the other news. Speaking of which, the other news that came out today is that Justice Roberts put a stay on Donald Trump's taxes being shown. A brief stay. I know, right? Why? There's something there.
There's a lot of things there.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is it's smaller than he says.
Yeah.
Like his hands.
It's my tax returns are so big that they're like 100 pages long. He literally said they're like 100 pages long, and it takes them so long.
If it's that long, then it's like that tactic when you have a crime scene. If you can't take away the evidence, you just throw a lot of BS in there to make the evidence harder to discern.
Yeah,
that's also a tactic.
Yeah, but that whenever somebody says, well, why are they hiring 87,000 IRS agents with guns? Okay, with guns. The with guns thing. That's not what happened.
Okay, so I actually did a report on this, I think last year, about how the IRS was so undermanned that they are doing less than a 1% audit rate, and that's why I was like, well, they're not going to audit you.
Yeah, exactly.
But hello, we already knew this. It's not that was They needed to add people back. They couldn't do their job. And hopefully they're going to hire these people so that we don't have to do our own taxes anymore.
You're gonna love.
That would be great.
You're gonna love where this story's going, though. Okay. Okay. So the story was, a bunch of politicians said, "We're not going to hire 87,000 IRS agents with guns." And what happened was, somebody out there in the MAGA sphere who was not blue checked, okay, no blue check, put a screenshot of a help wanted post on the IRS's job search website, okay?
Okay.
And it didn't show the title of the job, but it showed that. So, this is where it gets fun.
I'm ready.
All these politicians started posting this, Republicans posting this. Ted Cruz went one further. He not only posted this, but he posted the actual link to the IRS website.
Who did?
Ted Cruz. And guess what? It was for the criminal division of the IRS. The people who go after mobsters and drug runners and stuff like that for the IRS.
And why did he post it?
He thought he was going to be smart. And the smart thing was, I'm going to post this post. They're trying to hire all these people with guns. Don't believe me? Well, go to this website.
All right. So we're actually hiring people to work in the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And not the actual IRS officers.
But do they carry? I mean, I imagine some of them would carry guns.
They would have to if they're going after drug cartels
But I imagine wouldn't they do like a co-op with like the DEA or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, also,
or the FBI. They work in conjunction with the federal agencies like the DEA, the FBI, CIA, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. If we could just like stop the war on drugs and like start the war on pollution, that would be a lot better for this world and everybody in it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to remind some of the people that might be trying to post stuff on here, on your thing, that are trying to say stuff to you.
Well, I welcome comments, but you've got to laugh at you when it's dumb.
Joe Biden got Mexico to pay for help at the border.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yes, he did. Yeah. And you know why?
I'm just saying,
because he's not an agitator. Ooh, I heard that Biden had a call with Zelensky back in June or July, and it got pretty heated because Zelensky wanted more help, and Biden's like, "Come on, man! Like, can't you call somebody else?" Like,
he's getting a lot of help from the United States.
They're getting a ton of help.
Yeah,
and I don't disagree. I think there's a much larger consequence here, and that is the narrative of the globe, like the whole world.
See, I keep trying to tell people this, but they don't go for the whole story or the big picture. They just focus on this little thing right here.
I mean, like, there's so much influence, like, because Russia has a lot of influence in Africa, because they do a lot of trade there. Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of those nations have been kind of dependent on that, and just like nations are dependent on the US for this global trade. I actually been talking about, most people are like, oh, population's too big. Actually, the population's shrinking. And a lot of these people in government and the elites are very worried about that, because we'll have a global economy collapse. If we don't have people, we don't have workers. We can't keep up this trade that we've been doing. And, ultimately what's going to have to happen is we have to be more self-sustaining in our own communities. But in the meantime, we're Russia, China, pillaging local resources. Like, it's a very complicated disaster. And I was listening to a podcast who had put a couple of these books together. And they think it's going to get real bad.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the United States, they're like the only thing, the only way you're gonna be able to get through that is if you're an American, and because we're the ones who have our Navy has enabled a large global trade on the seas.
Yeah.
And that is why.
Well,
But more complicated.
well, one of the other things too is Putin's motives. Well, one of the motives that was talked about on Russian TV and stuff like that is they want to reunify Russia.
Oh yeah, he wants to be a Tsar.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I just want people are like, well, let's just let them have Ukraine.
No, they don't want it.
Yeah,
they're committing war crimes.
Yeah,
they're slaughtering people, children.
Yeah, but they're like, this is not our problem. Let's just give them Ukraine. And then I'm like, okay, what's next? Let's give them what, Sweden?
That's what happens.
And then this is when I remind people: did you know, in your American history, that Alaska used to be owned by Russia?
I don't even know if they teach that in history anymore. Well, the Texas School Board Commission has done so much because I think we've talked about this before.
About the scholastic books.
Yeah, because Texas is the largest buyer of textbooks. So their school board, like what they okay and want in and out, largely affects what the textbooks are going to do. And that's what gets shipped out to a lot. Obviously, some states don't use those same books, which is great because they've removed the word slavery and called it free labor, and you get one sentence. And
they actually had to send out, didn't they have to send out stickers to put over to make sure that the word slavery was put back into those books?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
I think that happened.
But I mean, I know like the word capitalism isn't in there. They're like free market, and they aren't the same thing. A free market isn't a whole economic system. It's just not. Like, it's not. And, oh God, that's the thing that bothers me the most is mainstream media on both the Democrats and Republicans, which are honestly very similar parties when it comes down to it. Like both of them, their media uses the language differently. And the right wing, much worse. They totally have people using the wrong definitions of words. Like people are saying
that was a throwback to the Reagan era.
Yeah, they have no idea what they're talking about.
I think it started in the Reagan era, and if I remember correctly, there were actual people that said, "Hey, this is how you do this."
Yeah, for sure. I like if you think socialism means one thing and they think it means something else, and then you have the actual political philosophy definition that has a very specific context, you can't talk to each other.
It's like Antifa.
Antifa is not a group.
It's not
Antifa means anti-fascism. It's an ideology. Like they conflate political parties with political structures and economic systems. They can't break them apart in their head. Like there's the whole XY axis, and you move around, and your parties are the points where these things meet. Yeah. And like, I can't tell you how many times I've had to explain this, and I'm probably pretty good at it by now.
And part of it too is the collapse of the education system too, because
Well, so we on my show we did an episode on the evangelicals and the 7 mountain theory. So they have 7 mountains they think they need to conquer, which are metaphorical mountains, and that includes the education, it's the political system, it's the media, which they are doing terrible in media. Their movies are terrible. They're so funny and weird. But I mean, it is a very pointed effort on their part. They are Zionists. They do want to bring out, they do want to bring on the end of the world. They think they're going to bring on revelations. They really think that. It's evangelicals in Texas. I remember I saw this news story years ago about how more of them are Zionists than Jewish people. Mm-hmm. Way more. They're the biggest Zionist group in the world, and they want war. They're trying to start the war, among many other things. But I can show you the episode we did on it. It was really, really interesting. We had Corey.
Corey. I remember.
Yeah, he did some of that, and then and Jill joined us as well. So It was a good episode. Check it out. It's on my YouTube.
YouTube, yep.
Rachel Bloomstrom.
Well, it's 4:55. Do you think we need a little relaxation here from?
Well, we didn't talk about Kanye yet.
Oh yeah, we'll talk. Well, yeah, Kanye would be a good way to go into.
Yeah, it'll segue into music.
It'll segue into that. Yeah. So Kanye's losing everything, and nobody's feeling bad about it.
Well, Zach said Kanye hasn't been right since 2005.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with the people that surround him.
You know, but he still says the things he says.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
But here's the thing. His most recent stuff for the past few years, I am definitely blaming MAGA and Trump on that. And here's why. They doing the same thing with Mike Lindell. Here's a man who has had a drug addiction. Okay? He's had a drug addiction. And, you know, I'm just saying, I'm guessing.
I mean,
here,
those are people who have weak psychological commitment to themselves.
But there have been times
heavily influenceable for sure
when certain people in the Trump purview have acted like they've been on drugs.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm not saying he's on drugs, but there's
he's off meds though for sure.
He's off meds. Kanye's off meds. I think Mike Lindell is either off meds or he's off the one of the two.
Off his rocker.
Well, yeah, he's off. But I'm
you know, and I want to bring Herschel Walker in a conversation.
And Herschel Walker has had blows to the head.
Yeah, and as somebody who has traumatic brain injuries and concussions, I've done a lot of studying on it, and I'm sorry I can't take any additional calls on here because we're on the radio, so I can't connect this. But like the amount of it's brain damage, it causes brain damage, and I was listening to this. I wish I could remember her name right now. She's a wonderful Black woman TikToker talking about the reason that the Herschel Walker type people and Kanye West are embraced by the racist right is because they are representing all of the worst stereotypes that white people make about Black people. Mm-hmm. And so the only Black people that they will let be visible are the ones who are one against Black people and say like racist things.
Candace Owens.
Yes.
Candace Owens, Diamond Silk.
Candace Owens was a specific case that she was a liberal for a long time reporter and nobody liked her. There's nothing special about her or whatever. She just, I don't know. And then I guess she had some sort of like mental issues several years ago. And the only way she found to recover and to get any attention was to start ragging on Black people. And it's a really, you know, it's a two-part problem, but like, you know, they're only being lifted up by the party of white supremacists because they are talking bad about other Black people and at the same time are also representing some of the worst stereotypes that, yes.
And Republicans are trying so hard to link Democrats to racism through the history of
party switch.
Jesus.
They know it. They've heard it. You know, I'm convinced at this point that anytime people say those things and like somebody's like, don't act like you don't know about the party switch. You know, I know that they have all heard these arguments at this point. You're saying the same things over and over again. You already know you're wrong. People have proven it to you and you don't care. And you just keep saying it. And to me, like, that's why I don't want to talk to people like that anymore. Yeah. There's no point.
Okay. So now let's get to the point. Okay. So have you seen anything interesting, movies, TV? Music?
Yeah. Actually, I did watch quite a few horror films over Halloween, and I went to this Asian pop-up cinema horror fest, which the last weekend will be next weekend. It's here in Chicago at Facets Theater. And I saw one of the movies on Sunday called Missing. It's a Japanese film and wasn't heavy in the horror. I mean, there was a killer in it. But I mean, it was very psychological and oh my God, it was incredible. I don't even know how to explain it other than, the movie starts, this girl and her dad who, he's kind of been dealing with depression, and then he goes missing one night, and, she goes on the journey of trying to search for him. And then later we get the perspectives from the other two main characters. And it was incredible. And it ends up having this really important conversation in it, but I can't tell you about what, because it's like, that's the point of the movie.
Yeah. I saw this great Korean horror movie called Bone.
Yeah.
Basically, the plot line is it starts with this girl in school who gets a new phone, and she picks up she gets a call, she listens to it, and then she starts going crazy.
Sounds like the Ring with the VHS, right? Only it's a phone.
Well,
kind of thing.
It's kind of different. The phone finds itself in the hands of this little girl. Okay. And the mother and the father, the mother buys the phone for herself and she uses it and nothing's wrong. But then the little girl gets it and she just listens to it and drops it. And then it turns out that she becomes possessed.
Wow.
So this whole thing is about investigating what's going on, and stuff like that. And then the ending is one of the craziest endings.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I watched Hereditary for the first time. That's a pretty crazy ending.
I mean,
it was a pretty incredible movie.
Oh yeah. That was
yeah. Oh, and if it wasn't made clear, it's called, this section of the show is called Fluffing with Darren.
Yeah.
So it's to relieve some of the tension from the first part.
Yeah. We try to do that here. So
I don't always do that on my show. Every once in a while I'll throw in a feel good thing and I'm like, let's get back to depression.
Yeah. So yeah, I highly recommend Phone. And there's also one
well, we saw Barbarian that came out on HBO Max, and that was definitely not what I was thinking it would be. And I would say that I liked so many aspects of it more than I actually liked the villain. But I have a suspicion that it is left open for at least one sequel. Yeah. But it was super fun. I mean, the cinematography was great. I mean, beautiful, images and color schemes and storytelling, and it's in separate parts too. It's almost like there's a couple of movies, but all of it comes together.
Oh, really?
Like a couple genres, it's like two separate genres that meet together.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was really interesting.
You'll like The Black Phone. That's with Ethan Hawke, the villain. That is such a good movie.
The Black Phone.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Ethan Hawke in a long time.
Yeah.
I swear the last thing I remember him was as emo Hamlet.
Yeah, there's a guy going around kidnapping young boys. And
Zach says Black Phone is good. Zach watched, I think, at least one horror film every day.
Mm-hmm. Malignant. That's another good one.
Yeah.
A woman.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I just didn't want to forget Titania. Okay, I saw that one. But yeah, Malignant.
A woman and her husband get into a fight, and she bangs her head against the wall. Her head literally goes into the wall, and she falls, and she's out. And then when she wakes up, her husband's dead.
She did it to herself?
No, he threw her up against the wall.
Oh.
And she wakes up and he's dead, and the police are, and they said with the force that it took, she couldn't have done it. And then all these murders start happening, and it turns out that there is a creature that is going around killing people that are doing something to her, to hurt her.
Yeah, my cousin Zach said Malignant is wild.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's very wild. And then when you find out when you finally see the actual creature and what the creature is,
Okay.
it freaks you out.
I guess so Titane or Titane, Titane. Actually, in French it's pronounced Titane. But this movie is he had written Bringer of Sadness. I was like, is that a movie? And he goes, no, that's how I describe your news style.
Yeah.
I'm a bringer of sadness, but it's all real important. But Titane, so bizarre. So just Zach, how do I even?
Oh wait, speaking of bizarre, I finally saw a movie that I know you wanted to see.
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh my god, I still want to see that.
Oh, you have to.
I know, I'm sure. She's so wonderful.
Oh my god.
Okay, so body horror to the limits for Titane. It is definite body horror. And it
again,
yeah. Some of these movies, they're just like, what can you say without
there is another movie that just came out that's on the, I guess it's on streaming services, and it's a Cronenberg movie.
Oh,
Cronenberg is the master of body horror.
Well, yeah, and also Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, I started watching the TV series that he has out.
Oh, what is it?
It's the Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, I need to check that out.
It's good.
I did watch the new series from the guy who also did is Midnight Club, and he also did Midnight Mass. Mike Flanagan. Mass. Mike Flanagan. So I actually watched both of those.
Midnight Mass was so good.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And Midnight Club was also really good, but that definitely, so it's his first actual full season. Like, Midnight Mass was a limited series, but Midnight Club is ready for season 2. And I think he's just waiting on the go ahead from Netflix, and they would be stupid not to. I mean, Mike Flanagan is one of their better directors. He did a few other things that I've seen. But it was really fun. It was really sad because it's about it's these terminal kids in a hospice, and then of course there's stuff around that. And I think it's interesting, it's always to be mentioned that a lot of these horror things take place around people who are already experiencing great psychological trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And just like in real life, when people report like these kind of supernatural or paranormal things that they're experiencing, it also tends to coincide with time periods of great stress or depression for them as well. Like you'll see that in Titane as well, Midnight Mass even. I mean, those people had been very traumatized by and sad and just deflated by what had happened to their town.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then somebody comes in and starts making them feel a lot better, not knowing.
But
they're basically taking advantage of.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting the choice of language he decided to use and the word choices he decided not to use.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? I hate to say this, but in the beginning of that series, I kind of knew who the new pastor was. I had this feeling. I had this feeling I knew who the new pastor was somehow.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
There's a lot. Well, he's so good at subtle foreshadowing and also storytelling. Zach also said he knew. Yeah. I had a pretty good feeling. Yeah.
Oh, there's supposed to be another new series coming out on Netflix from Germany by the same people that did that one where the kids go disappearing, and it turns out that there's this cave that takes you to other times.
Oh, interesting.
And well,
dark.
Yeah. The
This is the we got horror.
There's supposed to be a new series coming out from those people too. Dark was really good.
Yeah, I should check it out. I've been watching Vikings actually. I'm on season 5 now, and it's really good if you don't think about the plot holes.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it is the day after Halloween, so we're allowed to talk about this. Okay. So.
Talk about what?
Horror movies. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh well, but.
Yeah.
It is also the day after Halloween, where there was actual horror that happened in real life.
Yeah.
There was, we didn't mention it before, but should go ahead and mention it. That last night, a little after 9:00, there was this drive-by shooting on a busy corner where there was apparently a vigil was also being held. There were children trick-or-treaters. It was a bunch of people that had no affiliation. And somebody drove by and shot 14 people, and they said it lasted about 3 seconds. They don't know if there's 1 or 2 shooters from out of the car or not, and that's it. They have no information. They have no motive. They have no idea who did it. It was just all of a sudden everybody's full of shots. Yeah, she's looking for food that might be hidden because I'm pretty much out. I know I don't think I brought enough.
So one other thing I saw on TV was the final Jodie Whittaker episode of Doctor Who, and it was. I mean, I wish the rest of Jodie Whittaker's seasons could have been written as well as this last 90-minute episode.
Oh,
it was so good. And
was it a different writer? Did you notice?
I think it was the same writers, but towards the end, I think Russell Davies took over with the whole regeneration thing because the Doctor is now now regenerated, and that was hysterical.
Nice.
Just some background: the Doctor, whenever the Doctor is ready to die, regenerates into a new body. So this had the return of some old companions from the 80s when Doctor Who was on in the 80s. They're all grown up, and it was just wonderful to see them. And it had two of the older Doctors, the one from the one from each of
How can they all be in the same place at the same time?
Well, this was during the whole pre-regeneration thing when the Doctor got killed and was in the sort of like an afterlife, and the other Doctors were telling her, "No, you're not ready yet.
Oh.
You have to go back and finish this before it gets out of control." So, because the Master, who was a villain, took the Doctor's regenerations and killed her, and became the Doctor actually.
Ooh.
And
can't have that.
Can't have that because he's like telling the actual Doctor's companion, yes, "Oh, we could get in all sorts of trouble now, can't we?" Yes. No. Yes. Like, no. So anyway, comes back, does her thing, and as I said, the Doctors regenerate into new bodies. So, like for instance, Christopher Eccleston, when he regenerated into David Tennant's Doctor, David Tennant's Doctor was like, "Oh, better ears, oh, new teeth," stuff like that. So anyway, there's been all these different Doctors. Jodie Whittaker, actually, this was a beautiful scene too, because Jodie Whittaker, the Doctor parked the TARDIS at the edge of a cliff and wanted to see the sunrise for one last time, and regenerated outside the TARDIS. So you see all this energy going all over the place, and then you see the regeneration starting to happen
on the cliff.
It's David Tennant. the one of the older doctors, and he's like, "These teeth are familiar." What?
Are they bringing David Tennant back?
Yeah.
Oh.
So David Tennant is officially the 14th Doctor, but only for a few episodes until Ncuti Gatwa, who is becoming the new Doctor, takes over. It's Russell T Davies. He throws out first of all, he's brilliant at TV. He's responsible for Queer as Folk,
yeah,
and stuff, things like that. So, and Rachel Talalay, who he works closely with, she did some stuff for Doom Patrol.
Oh, I love Doom Patrol.
Yeah. So anyway,
though I don't think I've seen the latest season.
Yeah, I think there might be 2 or 3 episodes with David Tennant, or maybe just one for the their 100th anniversary episode. Yeah, BBC's 100th anniversary. So the villain in the David Tennant episode is going to be played by Neil Patrick Harris.
He would make a great villain.
Oh yeah, and the rumor, the thing we're all thinking, because we're all Doctor Who fans, is this one villain from back in the early 60s. Yeah, early to mid 60s, by this wonderful actor played by Michael Gow, who actually he was briefly in this movie that I love called The Legend of Hell House, where he played the actual ghost. Well, the dead person whose ghost was haunting the house. He's a brilliant character actor. Anyway, he played this character called the Celestial Toymaker, who would...
Interesting. Who would he make toys for the gods?
Well, kind of. Not technically not that. He would make up games. And these games would be played by different things picked out from different places and times.
Weird.
And it would be for the entertainment of the people that asked him to do this.
I know. I'm such a hard person to talk to about Doctor Who because, I don't know Doctor Who at all. So, I've seen 3 episodes.
But the funny thing is...
Are you my mommy?
Yeah. Oh.
Seen that one.
Oh, that was great.
Really? I didn't like it that much.
You didn't?
But
I mean, creepy?
No. No, I thought it tried too hard to be creepy. But also, I was asking Zach. I couldn't remember the other movies we watched, so he gave me the list, and so that's why I'm just ing out loud all of a sudden. I don't know. I think maybe if I got into the show and I really understood everything that was going on, maybe it would have been better. But to me, it was kind of just I didn't feel afraid because I didn't really know what was going on. You know what I mean?
There's this one really good episode it's David Tennant and Catherine Tate as the companion, but it's mostly David Tennant in this episode called Midnight, where the Doctor is on vacation with his companion Donna. Donna stays back at the spa, and the Doctor goes on a tour of this planet called Midnight, which is made entirely of diamond, and it has diamond rains sometimes.
Ooh, that would be terrible.
So
that would be painful.
So there's no atmosphere on this planet. So they're in this.
Oh, they got to wear suits.
So they're actually in a sort of vehicle.
Mm.
So while they're traveling, somebody's looking out of the window and thinks they see something, and they look. They don't see anything. Next thing you know, there's a crack sound on the roof of something, and then the thing stops, and then starts shaking, and everybody's freaking out. Lights go off, comes back on, and one of the passengers is sitting in the corner and is non-responsive. So they're trying to talk to her, and then finally they go, one of them says, "Are you all right?" And she goes, "Are you all right?" And then they're like, can you understand me? Can you understand me?
Oh yeah, so we're learning.
So
we're learning to speak.
So, but as they say stuff, the period between the time somebody says something and the time she repeats it keeps getting smaller and smaller until they're actually talking almost,
Oh.
and it's freaking everybody out. And then
I've seen that trope before.
Really,
but yeah, I mean, but I'm sure it was like for different reasonings, you know.
But then at one point she latches onto the doctor and starts repeating stuff he says, and then she starts saying things before he says it.
Now that's a problem.
And then the stewardess realizes that it's an alien entity that got into this woman's body and is now taking the doctor's voice and is using his voice.
Uh-oh.
Because she starts,
Find it.
the woman starts saying things he says, and then the stewardess realizes that, hey, the doctor's the only one that I've ever heard say something like that. And she realizes that that's the creature, and then jettisons the two. She grabs onto the creature and jettisons them both out into the surface to be burned. And
speaking of creatures, segue.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, so
movies.
One of the guys who I went to the film festival yesterday or Sunday with, which by the way, they have one last thing on this upcoming Sunday at Facets Theater. No, you didn't drop in on a therapy session. He was talking about a Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
So one of the so there's this movie called Septet that 7 great Hong Kong directors worked on together, and one of them is they're going to be premiering it, and all of the directors are flying in to go see it at Facets. Or I think they're hosting it at AMC because they needed a bigger space. So I'm going to be going to that premiere. So let me know. But if you want to go,
what day is it?
It's on Sunday. They're going to have a reception so we can talk with the directors if we want. And I'd be like, do you need any American actors?
My real job day.
Oh, no, not me.
I know you're not. Okay.
So I was just going to tell you the other the horror movies I watched for this month. I did watch Scream, which also we did a table read of it.
One?
No, the original. Because we did a table read of the original and I played Sidney Prescott.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it kind of made, people always told me, I've heard often that I look kind of like Neve Campbell. So I was like, well, great. Then I want to play Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
And while I was doing it, I realized she is such an anemic character early, like the very first season. It's not until she's like somebody's trying to kill her that she has any fire in her. I know. Is she over there on you?
No, she's near you, but she's rocking back and forth.
Oh, that's a tail wag.
No, her front paw's rocking.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what.
She just does that sometimes. It is very cute. We also saw Prey, which was the newest Predator. And then I watched several of the Predator films that I had never seen before, and I thought Prey was so good. I loved it, though. I have a big beef with that entire genre, or that entire film series, and that is trying to force it down to one character at the end. And the original one, one guy just died, there was no point. He didn't do anything there. I didn't understand it. Didn't make any sense. He didn't. And then in Prey, one person who was an even better hunter than she was. There was literally no reason for him to die, and then they killed him, and it just seemed like they did it. Oh no, I did not see Incision on Prime with. But yeah, we also watched The Dead Zone, which I cannot remember anything about that movie. I have no idea what happened.
About the guy who can predict things happening.
I don't remember. Maybe I was drinking. And I know I just didn't care for it that much. But then we watched Love and Monsters, and that was on Prime, and it was pretty cute. There, it was like an apocalyptic film, and the world, something had happened and made a lot of the small creatures gigantic. So it was a creature feature. And what I was going to get to with creature feature is I will be doing a guest spot on this guy's horror podcast. And I think we'll be talking about creature features because growing up, I was so scared of horror, but I could totally watch B films and 1950s, big bug films, all of those. Oh, see you later. Thanks for stopping by. And like, I don't know. I loved those movies. I don't know why. Like them, and which was the giant ants, and I saw one with giant grasshoppers, and I just couldn't do it if it was roaches.
I recently saw the She Demon. The She Demon. I saw the Flesh Eaters.
I haven't heard of these.
Attack of the Mushroom People.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
It's a Japanese one.
Oh, good. Yeah,
and it is brilliant.
Yeah, Asian horror is fantastic. My friend Kevin Sparrow, he's the host of the horror podcast. He says Indonesian horror is his favorite genre.
Oh, yeah.
So I have some Indonesian films to check out.
Yeah, some of them get really intense. I'm a Dario Argento sort of person.
I don't know what that is.
Suspiria.
No idea.
No, never saw it. Suspiria.
No. Honestly, like I'm not a huge movie watcher, as you know. I just happen to be watching a lot of horror films lately because my cousin was.
Well, Suspiria was one of 3 movies that Argento did, based on this thing called The Three Witches and the Three Sisters.
Like the Sisters of Eastwick?
No, it's the Three Mothers. The Three Mothers. There's the mother of sadness.
Who are you saying? Dario,
Dario, Argento.
Oh, okay. He's an Italian film director.
Yeah, and his daughter is an actress.
Oh, I think I've seen this guy before. Let me see. Oh, here's a list of his movies from best to worst. Suspiria, Deep Red, Tenebrae.
Yeah.
Opera, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Oh, that was so good.
Phenomena. Inferno, The Cat o' Nine Tails, The Stendhal Syndrome, 4 Flies on Great Velvet, Sleepless, Trauma, Masters of Horror. It was an episode on a show called Masters of Horror. It was Pelts, The Card Player, Mother of Tears.
Mother of Tears, yeah. That was one of the 3 movies.
Oh, okay.
And it was Suspiria, Inferno, and Mother of Tears.
And is this the one who's Hitchcock-like? Because he has one called Do You Like Hitchcock?
Yeah. He did a series in Italy, and I only saw 2 episodes of it, and the thing went off. I
gotta take her out.
Yeah. But
I will be right back. But
she'll be right back. But
yes, excuse me.
It's the 3 sisters. And he also did a TV series, Behind the Door or something like that. And I've watched the first 2 episodes. There's only 4 episodes. They're like mini movies. So I watched those, and I hope I can find the other 2 episodes because it was really good. While Rachel's helping Reese with some business, let's talk music because apparently the Black Eyed Peas have a new album coming out. The Black Eyed Peas, where is that? I just saw it. It's called Elevation. That comes out November 11th, next week. Yeah. Next week? Yeah, next week. Let's see, who else has? Shania Twain has a new album coming out, Queen of Me. That comes out this weekend. Is that right? No, February 3rd. Sorry, Queen of Me comes out February 3rd. There's a new Christmas album by Donnie and Lala Hathaway called This Christmas. Oh, it's not an album, it's a song. That comes out this weekend. Let's see what else we got here. We have new music from Neil Young. It's actually not new music. It's a 50th anniversary edition of his album Harvest, which includes live music and some outtakes. Reefy.
She's so good.
Yeah, so Black Eyed Peas have a new album coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Elevation.
They didn't really need to do that, though, did they?
Now, 25th anniversary of Spice World is coming out. Yeah.
You know, I had so many shoes that the Spice Girls would have worn in high school. I loved the tall tennis shoes so much.
So this is going to be demos, remixes, and live music. Yeah, that's the one that had Diva Forever, Spice Up Your Life, Stop.
No, I mean, I didn't really listen to them too much. I was
Oh.
pretty punk rock, and the few songs that I did know, I pretended I didn't like. But I loved their clothes. I loved their fashion.
There's a collector's edition of Queen's The Miracle coming out. That comes out November 18th. Let's see. Oh God, I forgot what song they used to do. Fits and the Tantrums has a new album out, and I remember that name from a song, but I can't remember the song. Darn it.
You know, I don't know what happened. You know, like when I first started, when I was 15 years old, I decided I wanted to play guitar. I started playing. I was already writing songs by like 16. Once I learned like 5 chords, I was like, I can write songs. I listened to the Beatles, and I learned to play, I swear, like 100 Beatles songs, which was definitely very much a foundation for my songwriting. And I got pretty good. And by the time, you know, I was in my early 20s and we had a couple of bands and we could have been okay. We just, I don't know, like I had a lot more stage fright back then.
Oh,
and
okay.
I did not feel like I was cool enough.
What do you think about The Cure?
I think they're fine.
Okay.
I never really got into them. I know that they're like, you know, textbook good.
Yeah.
Just, that wasn't really, I don't know. That genre was slightly before me because in the 80s, you know, my dad booked and managed bands. I grew up listening to like metal and big hair bands and punk rock. You know, like he booked Pantera and the Ramones at one point. And I love the Ramones. Dee Snider, I love Dee Snider. Dee Snider loved me. I was a little kid and I have pictures with him. And he like gave me a shirt and I'm just like rocking out to We're Not Gonna Take It, like 2-3 years old. Like that was my jam.
Here's something really interesting coming out.
Bet.
Okay. The Police, Ghost in the Machine, alternate sequence. It's a reorganizing of the tracks to make it sense in a different way. It's really weird.
Oh, so they just rearranged their album?
Yeah.
And Ghost in the Machine is... No, that's Ghost in the Shell. I was like, that's a Japanese anime.
Like, it starts out with Invisible Sun, then Demolition Man, Darkness and Spirits in Material World, Too Much Information, and Mega Man. But there's, like, I think a couple other songs on here that weren't on the original. Like Once Upon a Daydream and Shambell. I don't think they were on the original. But, yeah. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean... Curation does make a difference on how people receive things. Like framing matters for literally every aspect of entertainment and storytelling.
A Merry Rockfest Christmas. So it's like, I guess it looks like a heavy metal Christmas album. The
funniest Christmas album I ever heard was from the Vandals. It was called Merry Christmas to My Penis. It was pretty great.
Oh, I wonder if Thomas Bonds will play any of that on the show.
I need to send it to him, so maybe he will.
Yeah. PJ Harvey's B-sides, demos, and rarities. I don't know if you're into PJ Harvey. Oh, here's an old group that's putting out something new. The album's called the A&M Rarities from 1970, 1975. Does that sound around stuff? Humble Pie.
Oh, I mean, my mom liked Humble Pie, but like from that time period, I liked Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
Like I like to rock.
I want to rock. Yeah.
I want to rock.
You know, Guns N' Roses are re-releasing 3 different versions of Use Your Illusion deluxe editions. There's 3 very different versions of Use Your Illusion. They have I think one is the original redone, re-release. Then another one is the original plus CD of live tracks, and then there's a third one that's got the original, the live tracks, and then demos and outtakes and things like that. So that sounds kind of interesting. Elvis on tour. I don't know.
Which one?
Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I mean, like early Elvis.
Early Elvis.
Yeah, I liked early Elvis.
John Barrowman and the Royal Philharmonic, for all you Doctor Who fans out there. He was a semi-regular on Doctor Who, and then he went on to play the villain in Arrow. CW's the Arrow.
Oh, which character did he play?
I totally forgot, but he was,
because I watched Arrow. I liked Arrow.
Yeah,
kind of
dark hair.
Is he? Oh, yeah. Is he gay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I know who that is. Yeah, he's fantastic. I didn't know he did music.
20th. Oh God, this is how old I am. The 20th anniversary of Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots by the Flaming Lips.
The Flaming Lips were pretty popular.
Yeah. Sail on Sailor, 1972 Super Deluxe version by the Beach Boys. 105 tracks on there. I don't know.
You know, I feel like every time we talk about music that's coming out, like most of it is like re-releases or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of a re-release, by the way, not exactly a re-release. Not only is Paul McCartney got something new coming out, but the Paul is Dead theories has come back out, and it's making the rounds again. And the whole thing is he's going to have a resurge of success because he had this death and then rebirth, and it has to do with Crowley, the warlock.
Oh, Crowley.
Yeah.
Oh, that Crowley from Supernatural.
Not from Supernatural. No. The real life guy. There was a real life Crowley, and he had like all these followers. Turns out he's actually on the cover of Sgt. Pepper's. And I decided, like, I remember when I was younger and I first heard about this, I was like, this is all so stupid. So I decided to listen to like something that talks about the conspiracy theory, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty funny.
Last one, I'm just going to leave this here. The deluxe edition, which has the complete album plus remixes and extended versions and live music. Seal's first album.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay. Shall we get back to some news?
We can do whatever you want.
Yes.
You're the boss here.
Let's get back to some news. See what's going on. You know.
Well, I know that the Supreme Court's waiving off Graham's request to block Georgia's subpoena. Oh, it's not good. Oh my God, I heard. Okay, this is. I heard this.
Yeah.
From
somebody at a coffee shop.
No.
Okay.
Very
a hipster at a coffee.
No. A very, very popular, respected TikToker. And their friend is a male gay escort, and like apparently, like it's well known that Lindsey Graham uses their services. But
are we going to talk about ladybugs? I heard about ladybugs last year. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was actually seeing that come out in real time on gay Twitter.
Oh my god. Yeah.
on the gay Twitter. Yeah. There's black Twitter, there's black Twitter, there's gay Twitter, there's Twitter,
mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of Twitter. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Twitter, are you leaving? And if not, why not?
Somebody's gotta.
Yeah. I feel, I don't spend too much time on Twitter, but I feel like if these people think that they can say whatever they want without consequences, we can show their bosses and see if there aren't any. Like Elon Musk may let them say whatever they want on Twitter, but their boss may not retain their services if they're speaking publicly in these ways.
People lost their jobs because of stuff they've done on just the internet, period.
Yeah. Yeah, like that lady who had her dog off the leash in the park, and the man who was bird watching, the black man who was bird watching, and she like was swinging her dog around, screaming. Then she calls, she's like, "He's threatening me!" Like, yeah, no, she lost her job.
So, but guess what?
And then she tried to sue them, and they're like, "No, it's justified."
But guess what?
What?
He's got a new job.
Oh, the bird watcher?
Yeah.
Oh, what's he doing?
He got a gig. It's coming out next year. A gig on PBS hosting a bird watching show.
Oh, good for him. He was so calm and polite, and like, I get it.
And then that lady that accused the kid of stealing her phone, yeah, she got totally,
all these people. I mean, these are, like, if you're listening, like a lot of my TikTok, I actually talk about a lot of these things. Black Lives Matter is like a really important topic for me, and I especially like to address the white people who are doing wrong, or the white people who want to do better. Obviously that's my focus. I'm not, but exposing people. So we didn't talk about it. One of my main stories that I wanted.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did we talk about the special needs man? Yeah, we did briefly. So in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, District 2, a special needs man who had the minimum capacity of a 5-year-old was illegally detained. There's been this video that's gone viral, and he's holding, like, the video is like he's holding this kid. He's a kid. Yeah. Let's be honest. He's a kid. He happens to have a little bit of a goatee, but he's a kid.
Yeah.
And he's holding him by the throat, and he's got his bike in between his legs, and the kid's just like huge scared eyes, and this man's like, "You got to take your hand off his throat. Come on." I'm like, finally get him off. And the dude's calling the police, and he says, he's like something about stolen a bike, and the kid's like, "I didn't steal a bike," but he's not very verbal. He's hard to understand, but he's very clear that like that's not. And the guy said it was a green bike, and there's 2 other kids in the video. Nobody has a green bike. And then it comes out a little more. He's like, "Well, the other day somebody did."
Oh yeah.
So he's holding the one person he could catch, basically a 5-year-old, by his throat because somebody stole a bicycle from somebody else. And this man, like, I've been waiting for the DA to return my call. I've tried to call him again. I'm trying to get a statement on why, after it over a week and a half, and King Daryl Rick, what is his last name? Let me pull this up. Looking, I have so many different things open. Okay, he goes by Daryl King Rick Farmer II, who's an original Black Panther member, has been really taking up for this kid. And like they've gone to this man's house, and they've served him an eviction notice.
Oh God.
Yeah. Let's see. So the man's name is Robert Walkizowski or something like that. They're just calling him Hillbilly Bob. And so after the pressure from them, and then me and maybe a few other journalists who have been calling, and they've shuffled me around to everybody, and finally, deading in at the DA office who won't talk to me, who won't answer questions. He hasn't answered questions to any journalists about why the only charge is disorderly conduct when we have filmed footage of him holding a child by the neck and illegally detaining him. And like they had this really shitty, they had this really bad biased news report that blurred out their faces, showed nothing, none of the footage where he had his hand on his neck, and said one man had his hand on another man's neck, but there were no injuries. As far as I know, the level of injury you suffer does not change the fact on whether or not it's assault.
Yeah.
You can be spit on, and that is assault. You will receive no injury, but that is still assault. If this has happened to a special needs white man by a Black man, but national news isn't even picking it up. Nobody is. And it's infuriating, and I don't want to let it go. I'm not, this. If we don't speak up for disabled people, who do we speak up for? I mean, this kid, he can't even speak for himself. Like I have the charges they put in it that he's mostly nonverbal. Like the police tried to question him, but they couldn't get a story. All they heard, him making noises and frantically and putting his hand on his throat and then saying bikes, and that's about it. That's all they could get from him. So if we like it, I don't know. This makes me so mad, like so mad.
Well, it kind of reminds me of something, not so much the kid, but the circumstances. That thing that happened with the off-duty cop where he accused this kid of stealing his son's bike.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. I didn't follow up on that one. Yeah, because I talked about that one too.
Yeah.
But he didn't put his hand on his throat.
Yeah.
I will say that. But I'm still following up with the DA. I still plan on getting at least what is his reason for not charging somebody with like video footage evidence crimes. Like you don't have to be a district attorney to know when somebody's being illegally detained. Some states that's called kidnapping, the way he did it, and putting your hands on somebody else's throat.
Yeah.
And there were other kids there, but he didn't grab them. You know why? Because they were slightly older and a little scarier to him. The guy is a bully. He's a coward, and he's a little beat is the rest of my language. That's all I got left in me.
Yeah. Reese is not happy.
Yeah, Reese isn't happy. Yeah, she emotionally relates to me.
Hey, we were talking about the stuff going on with the election, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Paul Pelosi thing and all. Democratic candidate for Fayette County, PA House 51 district seat, Richard Ringer. He's 69 years old. He was assaulted, bloodied, and knocked unconscious in his backyard.
Wait, who is this?
His name is Richard Ringer. He's 69 years old. Fayette, Pennsylvania. He was assaulted, bloodied, and knocked unconscious in his backyard amid warnings about election-related threats and violence. This is getting out of control. Oh,
and it's gonna be violence on election day. There will be violence. I can already, because they've already been talking about they're gonna stand at the places armed.
Well, they did. They were doing that in Arizona, and the Arizona courts are allowing them to stand there and watch.
Well, you do know Arizona was actually a part of the Confederacy. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, and here's the other fun fact too. Before this became a thing, one woman actually took the piece of cloth that was covering one of their license plates and filmed, and they were going, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you filming?"
Oh, were their faces covered too?
Yeah.
What? Because you're a coward. You don't get to hide.
So he was allowed to film her while he was also carrying. But then once she took took pictures of his license plate, he freaked out. Yeah.
Because they're going to lose their jobs.
Yeah. This guy from Pennsylvania. This was the third time he had to call police about people. A guy was standing with his back to me. I went and bear hugged and wrestled. Ended up on the ground. He was larger than I am, and he pinned me down on my left side. He hit me 10 to 12 times in my head, in the face, and by the eye, and he knocked me out.
And why is this guy attacked? This was political, right?
Yeah.
And
he's had vandalism at his home twice, 2 incidents in the last 2 weeks. One, a threatening, apparently election-related message spray painted on his garage door, and the other, a brick thrown through a storm door window.
Listen, I got to say it again. Like, I know it's getting scary right now, but the answer is, one, you still got to vote. And two, the answer right now is not to ban assault rifles because they already have all of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you should have at least home protection. I really do. And I hate to be the person like pushing that, but half the country thinks there's going to be a civil war. So how many people do you need to start it? If they think there's going to be one, they might as well, they're going to start it. They've been trying to agitate one. That's what all of these things, they're seeing how far they can push us before we fight back. it's terrifying. I can't wait to be mobile. Oops. I guess Reese got some cookie.
Well, Reese has been a good girl.
Kinda.
Well, she's opinionated.
Yeah.
She's opinionated. I'll say that.
She's just.
Where was this? Oh, here it is.
She's just been wanted to be kept with. Oh yeah. So my friend Mark, he's kind of like me. He said, look at Brazil. They will emulate whatever happens there. So that's possible.
Yeah.
I do want to mention, I've been looking for more leftist groups to be part of. Apparently there's a leftist, it's a socialist rifle association. So they don't believe in armed protest. They just believe in teaching people like how to use the weapons and how to defend themselves and, training tactical, but they are ultimately, for peace. So if anybody's looking for a group like that.
So once in a while I mentioned accounts on Twitter that I follow. God at the Good God Above. He has a podcast, The Good God Above. Tweeted out, Elon Musk is now unintentionally hilarious. It's like watching Michael Scott try to run Twitter, except without all the business acumen or the charm.
Well, and he tried to get out of it, but he would have lost all his money, so he had no choice. He was trapped.
And the Good God Above also tweeted out, Supreme Court rules Lindsey Graham can go F himself. I love this guy. I think he's is he from Canada? No. He has a podcast, so let's just do that. The godpodcast.com. Very funny. What else has he been tweeting out? Oh, instead of $8 a month, how about $3.50? $3.50.
How about I got about $3.50. $3.50. That's from South Park, right?
Oh, yeah. He says, I'll be here with all your extremely outdated South Park references until he shuts me down, folks.
I liked South Park at first, but it became too, obstinately centrist, and I don't know. I don't feel like they grew with the rest of the country.
He also says, imagine being the richest man on the planet and begging Stephen King for $8.
Why was he begging Stephen King for $8?
No, he's planning on charging monthly for the blue check mark.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, he was saying $20, and then recently he tweeted, "Okay, well, let's just say, what about $8? How's that sound?" And then
that's not how you do business, you moron. You get a focus group. You don't just ask the whole public.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's true. No business acumen. Just, I wish that we would start taxing the billionaires like we tax lottery winners because they won the lottery.
Yeah.
If you win $1 billion in the Mega Million, your take home was $437 million.
Yeah.
Tax them just like that.
Yeah.
You don't get there because you're better than people. You get there because you got lucky and you trampled on people.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, by the way, we're taking the annuity.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The Powerball is up to 1.2 million.
Oh, yeah. I got to stop and buy a ticket on the way home.
See?
This is basically all we have left. As a millennial, we have less than 5% of the wealth. And at this point, the boomers held onto the jobs so long that we're going to be too old to move into their positions. They're going to leave us and pass us up for Gen Z, and we will never own a home. People, Gen X gets a free pass, but Gen X actually has the largest share of real estate, and they're the largest group of landlords. They are also, just siphoning off of millennial money. We can't own homes because they bought them all, and we got to give them extra money just to survive.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess that's it for the show, right?
Oh, is that my final statement?
No. Do you have any final statements?
No. No, I was just saying, final statement. If you Gen X, that's not what I meant to say. I didn't want to land there, is what I was saying.
What would you like your final statement to be?
What I will say is if you aren't following me already, super helpful on TikTok or on YouTube. Those are where I'm growing the most. You can interact with me probably most easily on Facebook, though, because I am an elder millennial and that's just where I am.
Just don't be stupid like some of these people that were out here.
I mean, you can come, but like I've already mentioned, I'm not going to engage with, I mean, if you're just spitting conspiracy theories, I'm not, I don't care. You can just scream it to oblivion. I'm not going to give you a platform. You can't use me. But yeah, please check that out. And look out for the show In Other News with Rachel Bloomstrom. We will be doing another series of episodes coming up, and I expect to be releasing on some podcasts. All of that information will be coming out. I am working with a team right now on getting that set up a little better. So I think it'll be good. And if you don't know how to spell my last name, it's Blomstrom. Looks like Blomstrom.
Just pretend that there's an extra O in there.
Yeah, it's Swedish. It's not my fault. I'm a Viking, if you can't tell.
I actually one of my first radio podcast appearances that I've ever done were with these two guys, and one of them actually ended up on the Swedish version of The Amazing Race or whatever it is.
Oh, cool!
It was really weird.
I feel like that would be fun, but I would be sad that I didn't get to experience the culture.
Well, it wasn't really The Amazing Race. It was basically individual contestants to see who was the best. It's something called Forge something or other, and it's like
I bet your pronunciation is spot on.
Forge, yeah, yeah. It's like I listen to Bjork music all the time, so it's like, yeah, you got it.
Yes, I love Bjork, but she's from Iceland.
Yeah.
Which, in Vikings, where I'm at right now, spoiler alerts in season 5, Floki, at the end of season 4, he's discovered Iceland. That's where I am in the series.
Yeah.
You wanna?
So, speaking of discovering Iceland and stuff like that, okay. Who discovered America besides? Well, no, America was not discovered because America was already inhabited. We already know that.
Yes.
But you have people that say America was named by Amerigo Vespucci, right?
Well, he was a map maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have that. You have the Vikings that have been here.
Oh yeah, they definitely have been here. Oh, there was a new story coming out of, I think it was in Arizona or New Mexico, that show the oldest footprints of humans in the world.
Really?
Yes, and it's very. I think it's over 500,000 years, and so they're still doing studies because some people are like, no way, and they're like, yeah, we did the testing, we did the substrate, we carbon,
yeah.
We did it all, but
surprise.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. Just keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for the show. Thank you, lovely Rachel Bloomstrom. What do you have plans? What are your plans for the following week?
I don't know.
Besides going to the movies.
Well, the movies. I mean, I'm working on. I'm doing a lot of background work on all of these shows. So hopefully, if you haven't seen or heard my original show episodes, hopefully, I'm going to be releasing them in podcast form as well. Yeah. So you can catch up there. Great series on the manosphere. That's the second part of my major work. I work Black Lives Matter and manosphere awareness.
Yeah.
So
thank you for the manosphere thing.
Thanks.
And Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
That was the other